At several, for several conferences, both TPA and STPA, people have talked about newsletters. Are you doing a newsletter? You need to do a newsletter. And if you're doing one, good for you. If you're not doing one, I understand. We were very hesitant. We were like, how do we do this? What can we do? And so we just said, you know what, let's look into it and see. And we looked at other people's and said, this is what we like, this is what we don't like. And so we said, let's look at this and let's figure out if we can make this work for us. So, I'm going to go through what our steps were. Doesn't have to be yours, but this is what worked for us. We started looking at how do we want to do this? Do we want to do it ourselves? Do we want to pay someone else to do it for us? And we said we wanted the autonomy, so we wanted to do it ourselves. So then some of the things we looked at Constant Contact, we looked at Salesforce, we looked at MailChimp, we looked at HubSpot, and we looked at Flowdesk. We looked at what they had to offer, what were the bonus points on them, what were the things we liked, what we didn't like. We ultimately ended up going with Flowdesk. And here's why. It was very user-friendly. I mean, it was literally, click on this, upload a picture, click on this, put in the copy, click on this. I mean, it was just boom, 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 boom. Very, very easy to use. And they offered a flat rate pricing. Almost all of the others, it was, oh, well, if you have up to this many emails, here's your price. Oh, when you grow your email list, you get to pay more money. And we went, well, that's BS. You're not doing any more work. So Flowdesk said, nope. The rate is the rate is the rate. Whether you have 10 or 10,000, we're not going to charge you any more money. And so we said, that sounds good. So we, and then we said, is this affordable? We felt like it was affordable. We were willing to give it a try. They then offered a first year 50% off discount. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I can afford this. And so we made the leap of faith and started doing it. We started, but we said, we want a logo because we want the newsletter to be connected to the paper, but at the same time for people to realize it is a different thing. So we have a great graphics designer, and he created this logo. Jeff, I think, came up with the name. Jeff, we were toying with a bunch of different names. I can't even remember what all we went through, but Jeff finally said, what about record breaking? Everybody went, that's it. We like that idea. If you want it to be your masthead in your paper because you don't want to figure out a logo, that works. But creating a logo actually brands it as this is a separate thing that you are buying into. Just like for those of us that have magazine products, your magazine product has a different logo and it's branded. So it's the same idea. We then literally just started playing with it. We said and as I said, we found it was extremely easy to use. We then sent several test emails out to one another and said, okay, is it coming through like it's supposed to? What do you think about this? What do you like? What do you don't like? And our whole staff participated in figuring out, did we like this idea? Within all of those systems, you import your emails. Those of you that have a digital product, you've already got a great list of emails. Also, if you do an online best of contest, you have a whole nother stash of emails because a lot of people will vote on your best of contest or in any other kind of a thing you have online, whether they're subscribers or not. So we said we imported all of the emails from that best of contest and put it into our base. We then, went through, we created a link. The newsletter itself is a free product. The people do have this, that they have to subscribe to it if they are not already in our database. A few people said, we don't like getting that, they deleted out of it, okay, fine. A lot of them were people who had voted best of contests that were in, Timbuktu and didn't care to get the daily update newsletter. But we have an opportunity on our website that you can click and sign up to get the newsletter. We share it on Facebook periodically that says, hey, you want to get daily updates? Click. We don't quite do it daily. We do it since we send out an email on Mondays and Thursdays, which is our press days, of the newspaper to our regular email subscribers. We then send out this email on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So it's a 3-day a week because that way the people who are subscribers are only getting one email a day and not feeling like they're bombarded with, y'all send too many emails out, because we get that comment as well if we send out extra emails, and I'm sure some of you have felt the same pain. But we also make sure that the newsletter in some way is always driving people back to our print product. So in every single newsletter, we will have a either read more in the next issue. So like in Wednesday's newsletter that we sent out, there was a read more in Friday's paper about this story. We usually have something that is like, and in case you missed it, and so it's then a link to either a last week's story that was really good or just the previous issue. In case you missed it, hey, you can click on this and read this story. Yes?
Do y'all ever send out a newsletter with breaking news, or do you have a separate means of doing that?
If it would be true breaking news that was, we would probably just send out an additional one. When there have been things that have just occurred, and like Jeff will say, don't send it out yet because we have something that we need to add to the newsletter. We don't have it other than today's because I wasn't there. We don't have it automated to go we pop the things in for like us yesterday. We had everything all in there. And then you can schedule them. I had it scheduled to go 9 o'clock this morning. But I purposely did it at that time because I said, if something would have happened that we needed to add in extra, we still could have before that 9 o'clock scheduled event went out. But if, in the middle of the day, if it's something that is true breaking news that people need to know about, especially if it's an emergency situation, we would just send another out. And the capability of doing that is there. It is for any, because it's just a matter of, like I said, you want to create another newsletter, go do it. I mean, the whole process, Jeff just literally sends me, these are all the things I want in the newsletter. If he sees them the day before and just says, before I forget, let me go ahead and send this to you. Otherwise, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday morning, he goes through and he says, put this in it, put this in it, put this in it, as far as the newsy items. And then we already have advertising that is in it. And those we can put in, you can put in all the links to their websites. You can, all of the things that the advertisers are going to want. And then we get it sent out. And I get to work, usually I work at 7, but I get to work, but then, it is usually ready for us. We send a test out to everybody at the office to proof it and make sure that we didn't make any glaring error on it. And then we have it sent out by about 9 o'clock on those mornings.
Do you do that work?
Yes, I'm the one doing that work. Like I said, Jeff sends me everything he wants in it. And at first Jeff was doing it, and he literally came to me and goes, Regina, and I said, dude, I want to do this. This is in my wheelhouse. I would love to do this. And so that's why I started doing it, and it was, took the weight off of him, and it became, something that's very easy to do. We can have, it has the capability of videos, like I said, links to websites, links to stories, and then just, news. Yes?
What kind of rates do you charge for the advertising?
That's my next slide. So, our process, we said, okay, what kind of things do we want to have on this newsletter? And then what are we going to charge for it? And the reality is, for me. We know our market, and we know that our market is a bunch of cheap, German, Czech people I don't care that I think my product is worth $1,000. They're going to look at me and say, you are crazy. So we said, what would our people be willing to part with to get their product out there? And so what we said is we created different things. We have a top spot that is literally either just above or just below the top story. And that top spot, if you just want it one time, it's $100. We have somebody, in today's newsletter, there's somebody there that was going to pay $100 to get it in one time. If you want it in for all 3 days this week, we give you a little break, $250. If you want it in for the entire month, that you're wanting to promote this event or whatever for an entire month, you want the top spot, you're going to pay me $800. We have customers doing that. If you don't care where it is on the newsletter, anywhere below that, just above or below the top story, you're willing for it to be a little further down, then the prices are basically half. You know, 50, 125, and 400. And we have people in every issue that's what they're doing. We then, we always get off, do you have a nonprofit rate? Well, we don't have a published nonprofit rate in the paper. But in this we do, because it drives it back to the print. You only get this if you buy a print ad. And if you buy a print ad in our paper, then the nonprofits get half of what the other cost is. So there's our 25, 50, 25, and it wasn't at 50, and then 150 for the month. Guess who suddenly can afford to spend money when they have been telling us, I don't have any money, I don't have any money, I don't have any money. What? I can get it for that? Yes. And it'll be for the whole month? Yes. How many times is that? 12. Oh, yes. You know, I'll do that. And so if they buy a print ad in the paper at regular price, then they get that nonprofit rate. The other things we started doing a few years back, what we call our Tuesday Times capsule and our Friday flashback, which is literally looking back 10 years ago what was happening. And we've got the PDFs, and so we just share the PDF from the newspaper 10 years ago. We found somebody who wants to sponsor that. He is literally $125 every month. He is the sponsor for that. And it's the same person. He said, no, I just don't want that spot. And so he's just there. All I have to do is pop in the new issue, because otherwise it's the same. I don't have to change the layout. I just pop in the new issue each time. We have the ability, nobody's done this yet, but promotional videos, if somebody has a video that they would like to do, we've offered that. If they've created it, and all they're doing is they want to run the video.
Do you have to approve it?
Oh, yes.
There's passing videos, Mary.
No, we don't just run anything. But, did you have a question? Yes.
I was gonna ask, what industries, or is there any particular industries that you found that really like this more than others?
The ones that seem to like it the most, that we get the most, other than the ones that are in a spot that they're just staying forever, are the events. When there are events happening, because they want the word to get out. And this is a great way for them to get word. We have over 8,000 emails that we are sending to. And so, yes.
What's your open rate on the 8,000? The percentage of people actually clicking on it?
Open rate? 3,200. So, yeah. But, and then we also have, that if somebody wants sponsored content, if they have a press release that is, because people say, this isn't a press release. No, it's not. That's advertising. But if you want this story to be there, but you're willing to pay for it, okay. You top spot, the lower space, and the nonprofit. That's where we're getting the majority of our revenue. One thing that we have discovered is that we do, like I said, we have a top spot, we have a top story, and then we have another one just below that top story, as our advertising. And then we usually pop another story in, and then we pop another ad in, and then we pop another story in. Because what we discovered is that some people may not scroll all the way down to the bottom. So if you have all your ads at the bottom, guess what's going to happen? They're never going to get seen. They're not going to get clicked. I'm able to go through and find out how many of these things people clicked on. People are going all the way to the bottom because the ads that are at the bottom people are clicking on. So, those people, and we do have a bottom spot that's not on here yet, but that we offered it. It literally is at the very, very, very bottom of the newsletter. And we have people that they're like, well, we gave them a really cheap rate off the top of my head. I can't remember what it is, but it is much lower even than these others. But they are there. They are just, that's a stationary place for them. They pay us by the month for it. And that they said, we just want the presence on your newsletter because they see the value in it. That's one is a real estate broker, and the other one is he's a home rental guy. Yes.
Regina is very clever about this sort of thing. At the very bottom of it, she puts an editorial cartoon. And as a result, I want to scroll down to the very bottom to see what today's cartoon is.
And it is
it's
sponsored.
always a funny cartoon. And so it makes you go all the way to the bottom. Very sneaky.
And the cartoon is sponsored, and the people that are paying it, they don't want to give up a spot. And that's one of our health clinics in town. Yes.
Is your ad staff creating these digital ads?
No. They said they, for the most part, they will if we need to.
Well, who's creating?
Pretty much everybody has Canva now. Canva's great for digital. You don't have to worry about it's 100% black, and you don't have to worry about all the stuff that you have to do when somebody sends you an ad in Canva for the paper. And for the most part, it's their flyer that they, like I said, when it's these events, their ad is the flyer that they've already paid for. They've already done all the work. They send it to you, kind of like this. You bet, zero work.
So do you give a discount for a camera ready?
No. No. We offer this. Wait, we talked about it. We offer free graphics design for any, for our advertising. Well, what if I have to create it? This is the price. But we offer free graphics design if you want us to create it. But if they've already done it and they like what they did, I'm not going to mess with that. And my computer was acting up. I was going to show you, but if anybody that wants to come look at my phone, I can show you today's newsletter. If you want to come look at it, because like I said, we have it. I checked it, I made sure that it did send at 9 o'clock. But what we figured out with making these prices affordable is that the people are willing to spend the money if they don't look at it as, I can't do that. And the numbers don't lie. It cost us $226.25 for 12 months of the program we're using. Last year, from when we started in July until the end of December, we brought in $7,000. This year, in the first quarter, we already brought in over $6,000. So, would I like to make more than that? Yes, but is it paying for itself? Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
What, the content that you're putting on the newsletter, has this already been printed in the paper? Or you're putting this?
What we do is we teasers to a story that's upcoming. So, there may be a picture and a teaser to the story that's coming up. We'll do, or a picture and probably wouldn't do 3 free, but I put out 8 or 9. So, yeah, this is how we have monetized it, and we only see it grow. So, yes.
And I would say that probably the secret to your success and the success of other newsletters that have done well is that you're trying very hard at it and paying attention to it. And really, the number one complaint I hear is that everybody's on short staff and we can't take another product right now. And so, which is kind of why you're doing it, because Jeff was busy. But so papers want to like kind of automate it where I'm going to set it on a schedule and just feed stuff from my website to it, and I don't have to really pay attention to it. Those don't work. The public knows whether you're paying attention to your own newsletter or not, and they just start deleting it. Once they don't read it 3 times, then they just delete it. So you have a couple of times to kind of get their attention with it. And if it's relevant and it's calendar items, it's teaser content of upcoming stories, it's stuff you won't necessarily see in the paper, then they'll read it. And once they start reading it, they'll read it every day. But you really only have a few times to kind of hook them in. And if you're paying attention to your own newsletter, it can be quite good. And it can really help drive print sales, web views. It can really be a great item to bring people into your content. But if you try to automate it and ignore it, it won't work.
Yeah, absolutely. And and like for us, the top story is literally that. But it's not necessarily what may have been at the top, your top headline on the front page, but it's what do we know somebody wants to read something about? What's going to catch their eye? Stuff about their kids is always great, or the grand this one was, but then something else trumped it. But the grand champion steer at the livestock show was going to be our top story because it brought in $32,000. And so that was our top story until something else beat it out, and so then it became the second story. But it wasn't much. But yeah, we very much we say what do we know that people is going to make the people read it, and when we do those links to a story, that's numbers on your website, that's traffic to your website, and then those numbers help you sell your digital, which is what Kelly's going to talk about in a little bit. So getting more traffic to your website is always a good thing. I saw a hand. Yes, whichever one.
What is your open rate? Your open rate?
Like regular advertising?
Just how many people are opening?
Oh, open rate on the newsletter? 3,200. Out of the 8,000.
So one of my questions was, do they provide you with like a pretty little stat sheet you can show your advertisers or anything like that?
You talking about I can show you the stats for, when my VPN is not working today, that's why I couldn't be on my computer. Because I could have showed you, I could have sat here and built one for you if my VPN had been working. But yeah, for every single newsletter, I have stats for every single one of them. I can literally click on that newsletter, I can see how many people open the story about the championships here. I can tell you how many people opened the story about that Tuesday time capsule thing, the 10 years back. Actually, that's one of our biggest opens. People love that. They love looking back at what was happening 10 years ago.
Is there anything that you learned to put in the subject line that works better than others?
Once again, you have to think, what's going to call their attention to it? We few of the ones who were like, oh, we don't like this. But we have not lost a tremendous amount by any shape of imagination. It was just the initial stages of the people that went, why am I getting this? And, so those are the people who unsubscribed right away.
So I know she said you did teasers about like hunting stories too. So on those, then you don't really have a story to link it to,
Right.
right? So what do you?
Our goal there is to get them to go buy the paper.
Watch for it. Okay.
Yeah, to look for it. And it's like that, like in Wednesday's edition, there's a look for this story in Friday's edition of the paper. And, the goal is hoping that they will, if they're not a subscriber, they'll go and grab and buy it. If they are a subscriber, they're just looking, wanting to read the story. But, like I said, so we'll do one teaser, one look back at yesterday's paper, which once again, they could go buy the paper. They can go to the website, they can click on the 99-cent, buy a digital version. But like I said, just in itself, without even saying, is it causing people to buy more papers? Is it doing all that? These are the numbers that people are paying just to be in the newspaper.
Does everyone here, or do you all on the SDPA, this server where you get emails from SDPA?
Yes.
If anybody is not, please let me know. Larry Jackson just sent me, I guess what Jeff sent him, which is a link to your newsletter. It's okay if you're not.
Because I was like, I just expected that because I was going to have it up here and show it. Yes, okay.
Everybody on this.
Perfect, thank you so much. So yeah, so you can look at today's newsletter because Larry took care of that for us. Thank you very much. But anyway, my conclusion statement, why is it not advancing? My slide is not advancing, what is wrong? Let me see. Open this up, let's see. My conclusion statement is the only thing stopping you from doing the newsletter is you. It really, because that's, we just bit the bullet and just did it, yes.
We use MailChimp, but the price difference definitely caught my attention.
Yeah, that's why we didn't use MailChimp.
Yeah. Do y'all have segmented lists, because we have a separate one for our magazine, and then we have a separate one for just advertisers?
Yes, we do.
You do?
Becky creates her emails that she sends out to all the advertisers in this same program.
Yeah.
And so she has a list that is just the advertisers.
Okay.
And when she sends it out, and so her newsletter is going to look a little different on one hand, but she makes it unique for what she wants. But yes, so she has her advertiser list that has however many thousand people that are on that, and then this is our the list that I use is our subscribers. And like I said, everybody got it because we use Second Street for our best of, and so all those emails that you get in that, there you go. We import every one of them, and that gave us that list of over 8,000